What is up, y'all? My name is Brianna Bryant, and this is YTD TV.
Go ahead and tell the people what's your name and where you're from.
So my name is Brianna Bryant, and I'm originally from Jacksonville, Florida, born and raised, and I'm currently a fourth-year broadcast journalism major from the Florida A&M University.
Okay, cool. And we're going to talk about your podcast, YTD TV.
Yes.
Can you explain what that is exactly?
It's basically like a safe space for young individuals to shed light on the talent that we discuss amongst ourselves on the podcast in the hopes to give younger individuals that are watching more so like advice, aspirations kind of thing, kind of like to influence them to do better things. Say if I'm having a conversation with an individual, a music artist from Jacksonville, Florida, and my main purpose would probably be for not just younger individuals in Jacksonville, but same age individuals in my age gap to kind of take from the conversation I would have had with that artist, if that makes sense.
Okay, and what motivated you to start it?
So what motivated me to start? Well, I feel like I always was like a social butterfly. That's what my mama say. She always called me a social butterfly. Even in high school, like it wasn't really hard for me to it's not really hard for me to make friends even now. Like I always felt like the conversations I had would always get me somewhere. So I felt like, why not share like the moments and conversations that I have with others like on a platform, if that makes sense. My main purpose was, I love music. Like, I love music, not a music artist, but I love to listen to the music. And I love the whole vibe and the whole demeanor of music and what comes out of music and what others can really do with music and how it affects others mentally, emotionally, physically. And I felt like I wanted to do something with music, but not being an artist. I feel like that would be the same as like, say, a producer, engineer, photographer, liking that field, but wanting to do something else with it, if that makes sense. And I chose I wanted to do like conversations.
So speaking of the artists and producers that you've been working with, can you maybe give us some insight on some producers or artists you would be excited to work with in the future?
Drake would be like my number one artist I would like to interview, for certain, no question about it. Nicki Minaj, Lil Baby, Gunna, for certain. Young Thug, Future. Like these are like some of my like top artists that I can actually physically see and mentally see myself working with in the future. Like I can see me like interviewing them, or whether I run into them at a show or something, or red carpet or something, like I can.
And out of all of them, like say you could only pick one, like who would it be?
It would be Drake. I feel like no matter what it is, like feature with him, or like if you were to get him on a show or something, like Drake, you certified at that point.
What kind of questions would you probably ask him?
I would probably, like the first thing I would ask Drake is how did he get to like where he is now? But like he's like, before I do interviews, I do my homework, which basically means I look at other interviews or any articles or anything that was said from him verbatim. And so he has answered that question quite a few times, but I feel like I would either ask him like, how was he able to get to where he is now as an orchestrator, as a producer, as an actor, as a music artist, all of that. I feel like he is probably someone that a lot of people my age especially look up to. And even in my interviews, when I've asked somebody who's somebody that they want to work with, they're literally their first pick. I feel like it would be Drake. Then it would be Lil Baby after that.
Speaking of your past interviews with artists like Sadie Hendrix and Jaya, to a lot of up and coming artists, do you have a favorite interview?
I would say my favorite interview was probably SETI, only because I enjoy all of my interviews, actually. They all are a learning experience. Even hearing everything they have to say, the advice that they give in each video. I would say SETI because that was my first time actually traveling out of Florida, on, I wouldn't say business, but on I'm going to Atlanta, Georgia to get something done type of thing. And SETI name definitely holds weight in the music industry. It definitely holds weight in Jacksonville. So it was really exciting for me. It was interesting for me. It was a learning experience. And I feel like it's always good when the outcome of meeting somebody that you like their music, you've heard good things about them, and it actually ends up being true. This person is a good person. This person actually is very down to earth. I think one of my questions, I even asked him what his ideal Florida night was, and his answer for it was literally it felt like Jacksonville, which is home to me, and he's from Jacksonville. So I would say that was my favorite interview.
Okay, and I know there's probably people watching wondering, how to reach out to artists that they may want to interview. Can you maybe give some insight on that?
So I actually had to learn this myself. It's a given, it's an obvious, but the main person that is going to keep in contact with you, I think when people think when you get an interview, when you secure it with somebody, you talk to that person directly. Sometimes, yeah, but mainly you're talking to their booking manager. And sometimes you're gonna run into a good booking manager. Sometimes you're gonna run into a not so good one. Some of them are not consistent. Some of them don't answer back. Some of them, their response time is off. Some of them, their tone is a little, some of them, I'm not gonna get into all of that because I've had to deal with a few, but opposed to that, the good ones that keep in contact with you and stuff like that, I would say first, probably every message you send them, at least make sure you're inputting as much as you can, because you don't know if this booking manager is too busy to get back with you. So you want to let them know everything you're trying to do right then and there. And that's literally what I do. In my first message to them, I introduce myself, I'm Brianna Bryant, I'm fourth year broadcast journalism major, blah, 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 from FAMU, and this is what I want to do, blase, blase, blase. If this is possible, please let me know, get back to me as soon as you can. I hope to hear back from you. And I check my mail daily to see if I got any responses, and that's literally probably how I get most of my connections. And yeah. Oh wait, I didn't clarify, but booking manager is always gonna be in that artist's bio, their Instagram bio. So the for booking, and then they put the email, and that's how you get in contact with that person. Or they'll leave their number, or those little arrows beneath next to the message, book now, all that stuff. That's how you get in contact with them. I meant to say that.
From what I can tell, you've gained a lot of experience over the years. Can you maybe give us some insight on the beginning of YTV and the steps you had to take to get here?
Mm-hmm. So, first of all, I personally, I felt like I really always wanted to do TV. When I was little, I used to watch 106 in Park, and I always used to wonder to myself, dang, they get to sit there and see and meet and celebrities and stuff like that, and I always felt like I wanted to do that. And then when I got to high school, I had to take certain courses, and everybody kind of knew what their kind of an idea of their career. And one of the electives I always chose for 3 years straight was journalism. That was one of the courses I took in high school. I took it my sophomore year, my junior year, and my senior year. And I remember I told my high school teacher, my journalism teacher, I told him that this is what I wanted to do in college after one of my classmates told me that's what it's called, like the major, that's what the major is called in college, it's called broadcast journalism. I was like, okay, like, cool. So in the beginning of 2020, I came up with the idea over the summer that it literally just popped into my head. Like I was literally in my room, and I don't know if I had seen something on Instagram or what it was, but I was like, instead of making my YouTube about like me and like lifestyle like vlogish or whatever, I was just like, I can probably use like, not, it's a gift to me now. Like I think what I have now is like a gift. It's a gift to me now. But when I was thinking of it, I was like, whatever. I thought of it as like a conversation or just me like being like comfortable talking to people. But I was like, I can use that to really start putting content on the channel instead of it being about me. And I purchased the 2 microphones, like I said, and then I chose Lauren as my first person to interview. And that's how that started. And then I've been doing this for a year now. My 1-year anniversary was on September 26th. So my 2-year anniversary is coming up. I don't know what I'm gonna do for it yet. I think I'm gonna throw like a big party, like, and invite like all the people that I've interviewed and I'm gonna interview like for the rest of this year. And then that's gonna be year 2.
Okay, so being a year in, where do you see yourself in YTV TV in maybe 5 years?
So in 5 years, I've never even told anybody this, probably like my mom, but I wanna like start like my own like little magazine for the podcast where it'll feature like actual like artists. And like I'm so serious about like people my age, because I feel like the youth is literally the future, if that makes sense. And I want it to be like all about music, of course. Like I told y'all, I love music. It could be about fashion, music, producers, engineers, like all of that. And just, I want to feature like all of that like on there. No drama though. I'm not into like gossip and blogs like that. Like it would strictly be like business. But in 5 years, I plan to have like my own like studio where I can film my own interviews. I want to start doing to where I can have actual people purchase like tickets where they can come and sit and watch me interview like their favorite artists in front of them. And I plan for my podcast to have over at least 5,000 subscribers in 5 years. Like I would hope it would have more than 5,000 or at least 100,000, like numbers going up. I would hope to be in my dream city, which is Atlanta, Georgia. But like I know for certain like the business side of, not even a podcast, the business side of everything, it needs to be intact. So I plan to have my business side and my finances and everything for my channel up in 5 years. Also in 5 years, I hope to have reached a lot of the goals and have met a lot of the people that I want to meet and interview on my list right now. That's where I plan to be in 5 years.
For those watching that might be inspired to start a podcast, do you have any advice for them on how to begin?
I would say, like without a doubt, start now. Like even if you have like that small thought in your head, like, and you see it on Instagram, somebody else doing it, and you're like, I could probably do that too. And like you ain't, like, you just let it go by for a second, but you truly feel like that's something that you could do. I feel like do it, because you're gonna, once you actually do decide to do it, you're gonna be like, dang, I wish I would have been doing this. And I feel like with any career, like anybody feels that same thing. Like Advice-wise, I would also say, because I'm learning this more and more every day, what other people think literally does not matter. Because on your path, like what other people have to say, that's literally other people's thoughts, and what other people have to say literally has nothing to do with what's coming your way, where you're headed, or anything. That cannot dictate what is already in store for you. So to have a mindset, you have to have a strong mindset. You can't, because I'm not gonna lie, like when I edited my first video, my first interview, I chopped so much of it out because I was like, people are gonna be like, why would she say that? Or on this part, like, why would she? But I was like, at the end of the day, like, who really cares? Like, they're gonna watch that small second or whatever that I chopped out of the video and keep watching it. Like, it literally does not matter. So I say whatever you do it how you wanna do, because you're gonna probably get on yourself more than somebody is getting on you about it. I feel like every bad thought everybody has about a person lasts literally for like 2 seconds, and they go on about their day and they keep thinking about it. Why would you let somebody's like a small thought that person has in one day like dictate what you want to do or what you want to put out there or anything? That's how I feel.
Okay, you mentioned the 2 mics and how you started with the 2 microphones. Is there any other essential items that you need to have a podcast successfully?
You're definitely gonna need a ring light, some source of light. I have like one big like ring light, and then I remember when I really knew I wanted to do it. This is how I really knew I wanted to do it. I went into Best Buy because I was thinking at first, I was like, I need like a camera, but I know the cameras, like the big ones, like they're at least $300+. But I was like, I don't know. So I went into Best Buy, I was looking around, and I was like, how much are the iPads? Looked at it, and they were almost like $1,000, and I was like, I'm not doing that. But I was gonna leave. I was about to leave, but I was like, nah. Like, I set up this interview with Savage, like I said, and I was like, I can't do it I'm not doing it from my phone. Like, so I bought a mini iPad, and that's currently still what I film on, and I still get the same quality that I do on the interviews that y'all be seeing. But I got the iPad. iMovie is how I edit a lot of my stuff. Like, I know the more I get into like my field in my career, I'm gonna start using like Adobe and stuff like that, or probably get like a MacBook and stuff like that. But for right now, I use iMovie. I have my ring light, my iPad, and I'm like a capture the moment type of person. So I have like a small guest book where every person I interview, I have them sign it. So their autograph is in there. And so one day, like you even said, like in 5 years, I can look back on all of the people that I interviewed and have their like signatures in there and stuff. A safe space. I was never one until now. I did my second studio interview, but my safe space was my home, and I felt like I could have did it like probably on campus at FAMU or something, but I wanted like a safe space or whatever. And yeah, I would say like somewhere for your first 5 interviews or so, a very safe space. So that was my home, and that's something I'm gonna be telling people 5 years from now. I used to do interviews out of my home. Now I'm doing them everywhere. 2 microphones, ring light, iPad, guest book, and that's it.
Are there any people in your field that inspire you to do what you do?
I would say for certain, like I said before, Roxy and Terrence J, they still are, very much do have an influence on me. I would say Angela Yee, Charlamagne, like The Breakfast Club, DJ Envy. I can personally say, and this is not even exaggerating, I have watched probably will have spent probably over 100 hours sitting up watching The Breakfast Club and really gaining perspective, taking notes, seeing how they ask their questions, how they turn into different questions, how they flip the subject, how they laugh certain topics off, how they ask serious questions in like their intros, their outros. I definitely love The Breakfast Club. I would say podcasts like the 85th South Show that have to do with like humor. I'm not saying like I put humor in my podcast, but I like having like a more so bright, uplifting demeanor in my conversations. I like in some of my interviews, I do have moments where we're like laughing and stuff like that. I kind of like the idea of having conversations that bring good out of them. Like that's kind of like more so on the purpose side of my podcast. Who are some other people? I would say even like Oprah, like the business side of it, she became a billionaire off of literally starting conversations with people and having other people watch it. And her conversations were with people that were music artists, they were DJs, comedians, all of that. And Oprah is definitely inspiring to me. I would say like that for right now.
Would you be open to interviewing any other fields, or would you like to strictly stay entertainment?
I feel like for right now, I've been staying in music only because I really want to master like doing that first before I jump into something else, because when it comes to the person you're interviewing, I feel like the questions are different when you're having a conversation with somebody that's, say like if it was a comedian, I feel like it wouldn't be the same questions that I would be asking like a music artist. Of course, like the general ones, like who are somebody you like would want to work with, or like, you know, what made you want to start doing that or something. But right now I've been sticking with music for a year. I've been doing it for a year, but I definitely want to jump into interviewing more music engineers, more DJs. I think Warren was the only, not me saying it's government. I think DJ Savage was the only DJ that I ever interviewed. I feel like I could really see myself doing like fashion interviews, not gonna lie. Like, cause one of my ultimate goals is to make it to the BET Awards, red carpet, Staples Center, California. And a lot of times they ask them about their outfits and stuff, or they have like a little section where they talk about literally what the artists and the people that are there, what they're wearing and stuff like that. I definitely could see myself doing that one day. I could definitely try. I feel like sports is something I want to do after I've been doing this for a really long time. But when I was in high school, I wanted to be a sports anchor. Believe it or not, I wanted to be a sports anchor first, where they would go and interview the players after the game on the actual court. I wanted to do that, and then I ended up like, I think I want to do music artists. Like, I really seeing like other people do it and like what came out of it, and then posting like daily, them meeting like different people and traveling to different places. I was like, I think I want to do that. I don't want, because music is so broad. You can do a lot with music. R&B, hip hop, pop. You can do a lot. You can go in a lot of different subjects of music, but I feel like sports, especially because I was like focused on like basketball, I feel like sports is like really like not cornered in, but yeah.
Okay, is there any last words or shout outs you want to give out?
I want to shout out God first and foremost, and I want to shout out my mama, and my family and my friends, my close friends who know who they are. And I want to shout out my podcast, YTD TV, because it's here and I finally started it. So, and I want to shout out me for doing it and making it happen. So,
What's your socials?
And you can find me on Instagram, Twitter. My podcast is even on Facebook now. You can find me on YouTube, of course. Everything is YTD TV. And my main Instagram is Brianna, which is my actual name, BRE, 2 Y's, 1 O, 3 N's, 1 A.